through the implementations of the guidelines for the alternative family care. Such a key bigger friends of the government as well as the National Council for Children's Services, because the achievements were not, they did not come about in isolation, but they had to be government-led. We came in to support as well as give our expertise, but we know that they are the number one experts, and we come alongside them to complement and support them. And so that has been a key win, even as we look back at the milestones as well as the achievements that we have garnered together. Next. The Aprire project has not only helped us have big wins in the advocacy work, we are here to celebrate the big wins of what tools we developed together. The fact that for my organization, I didn't have fare to Machakos, and Okada gave me a lift from Nairobi to Machakos for 3 consecutive days. That was really helpful, because I was not alone, but there was also 2 other organizations that are part of the association that needed that kind of support. So you see, it not only is about the big things, but even those things that are human touch and helping your neighbor. I see there has been such a great camaraderie of friendship as well as support for each other in this process of Aprire. So we may be looking at the big wins here, but there's an even bigger win of such rapport and relational elements. But also we have supported matters of the care reform strategy, thanks to the support of partners like Aprire. We also managed to do a document on frequently asked questions on alternative care. We also did an animation combined, led by the government. Mr. Imbai, Mary Thiongo were key in leading us together. And it was courtesy of the funding from this project that that animation, which you'll watch a bit later, came to being, and we are believing that it will help propel the issue of alternative family care even to the mainstream media traditionally, as well as the social media, which has become also quite a thing. We also have facilitators training manual. I remember, for instance, recently when we were in Naivasha to develop our parents training manual for foster care. Had it not been the Aprire support that actually enabled someone like me, who sits in the secretariat of the association, to go to Naivasha and be there for a week, chances are it couldn't have happened. And so we have seen an amazing, amazing benefit of this program towards big pieces, but at the same time, even the rapport or the elements that are relational between members of the association. Next slide, please. Other than that, of course, next slide, that is the document on FAQs on alternative family care. At the moment, it's housed at the National Council for Children's Services, so if you want copies, that's where you get them. And I'm really sorry, had I been well prepared, I could have brought quite a number for you to take away. But that is not lost. It's because I thought this wasn't working. Next. So, tuendelee mbele tafadhali. Na tusigawe mashamba, that is dozing. We have the animation. We have it in Swahili and English, and it's a very short advocacy tool. Basically, the animation talks about why alternative family care is important, what are the push factors for institutionalization for children, and what the options are for alternative family care. I'm sure it has been cued and will be played in a short while. Next slide. The Aprire project also played a huge role in strengthening the association. Remember, we started in 2016, and Aprire came about in 2018. And so we were still doing a lot of the groundwork and trying to get our structures in place. But just getting support even to put up a website that is quite high capacity, that can hold animations, that can hold the tools that we've developed together, was quite a big boost. But other than that, next slide, a lot of the advocacy tools that have been developed have all been posted on the website. And a lot of the members' meetings we've had annually, twice a year, have been courtesy of this project. And you can imagine putting together 30 organizations combined, and the power and the force that comes with. It has really helped bolster even the implementation as well as the dissemination of the guidelines for alternative family care of children. So, courtesy of Aprire, that is a word that I'll keep rhyming in this conversation. Courtesy of Aprire. Next slide. We also have a mapping exercise Mapping of alternative family care services offered, number one, by the members of the association, but number two also countrywide, which organizations are engaged in alternative family care. And this exercise was done in collaboration with the Department of Children's Services Directorate, as well as the National Council for Children's Services. And so, for example, this one is touching on the organizations that are part of the association. And you can see the second longest bar actually shows that a lot of these organizations are involved in supporting the reintegration of children, but at the same time keeping them in residential care facilities. So it tells you that there is a huge need to endeavor to ensure that advocacy efforts are top-notch as far as propagating or ensuring that this becomes less relied upon as a form of care for children and that many are retained in families. Next slide. Then we have the mapping of AFC services countrywide. And the DCS, together with the NCCS, led on this exercise. And all 47 counties responded. Next slide. And from their responses, what was found out is that 45% of organizations countrywide that are offering services for children or involved in care reform are, number one, registered as charitable children institutions. So you can already tell the disparity or the imbalance. If such a huge proportion is caring for children in residential care, we definitely need to ensure that their minds are changed and that we no longer have the poverty of the mind, but that there is transformation even in the way we care for children. So that in the next time such an activity is done, we'll have more supporting them in families as well as strengthening families and communities. We'll move on. Then we have childcare options provided. Again, like we saw in the initial one for the institutional association members. You can see the longest bar here. It means countrywide, many are still providing residential care services for children. So it continues to communicate that efforts have to be put to ensure that children are reintegrated, alternative care is prioritized, and that families have to be strengthened. And I was talking to someone from the provisions department right there, Madam Bianca, and she says a lot of issues, it has been repeated. So if we can think of the root cause approach and tackle the problems from the root causes, then we are able to systemically address this systemic problem that is institutional care. And so the family, how can we target the family as a key component in our interventions? Because if we forget the family, brothers and sisters, all these issues of institutional care and the challenges that come with it are going to be more in the future. So it means in our programming, let us rethink it and tackle them from the family and think of it from a very proactive, preventative approach as opposed to a reactive one. The next one really was more about the contacts for the association, but I'll just verbally talk about the recommendations as I finish. First and foremost is that we have to see how to utilize technology. And like Bona AICS did, we have a JJIMS thinking about foster care. What technology have we embraced in that regard? In adoptions, how are we using technology and information technology platforms to help, especially now that COVID has taught us lots of lessons? As an association, really one of the big challenges was the whole COVID dilemma. But then thanks to Aprire, we were able to rethink how we do things and also achieved a lot virtually. And for instance, that animation that you're going to watch in a short while was developed and there was never a physical meeting. All of them were virtual. Other than that, you have to be very intentional on making investment for advocacy. We are very quick to put money into programs, but we forget about the changing of mindsets through advocacy. So could we also consider that in the next round of collaboration? But at the same time, thinking of how to use to pass the message and information to do with children and their rights to belong in families. But also existential structures, the church, the barazas, the mbakumi, how do we tap into these platforms
to advance the alternative family care agenda. So without further ado, I'll request that we get the animation played and then I will take my seat. Thank you for your time and attention. Asante sana. Please let's play the animation. Asante PK for the beautiful presentation. After the animation, we're having a moment to determine way forward. PK has given us some recommendations. We got recommendations also.
Imagine a Kenyan family at the end of a long day. The children talk about their day at school. Imagine a Kenyan family at the end of a long day. The children talk about their day at school, and mom and dad make sure they're ready for bed. This may seem Imagine a Kenyan family at the end of a long day. The children talk about their day at school, and mom and dad make sure they're ready for bed. This may seem normal, but isn't the reality for many. While most children in Kenya live in families that give them care, a sense of belonging, and access to community, others struggle without the family unit in place. Some families struggle and children end up in children's homes or on the street despite their parents and extended family being alive. In addition to poverty, some family separation cases occur because of abuse, disability, neglect, and exploitation. Children's homes have been perceived to be a safe haven for children. However, a loving and caring family provides a sense of belonging and identity to our children. In addition, over 80 years of research has demonstrated that separating children from their families and placing them in children's homes seriously harms their health and development. Article 45 of the Constitution of Kenya recognizes the family as the fundamental and natural unit of society. Family and kinship are the social pillars that protect children. Growing up in a family gives children the love they need and enables them to lead families of their own in the future. It takes a village to raise a child. We should ensure that children are not separated from their families and communities. As Kenyans, this will need our active involvement. Let us maintain the African tradition and spirit of caring for orphaned and vulnerable children in our extended families. We can secure the future of these children through opening our hearts and homes for them through adoption, foster care, guardianship or kafala, amongst other options. There is a role for each of us to play. For more information, contact the government county or sub-county children's officer situated in your area county or sub-county commissioner's office. You can also call the toll-free child helpline 116 for guidance. Hebu ifikirie familia moja nchini Kenya. Watoto wanasimulia juu ya siku yao shuleni huku mama na baba Hebu ifikirie Fikiria familia moja nchini Kenya baada ya siku ndefu. Watoto wanasimulia juu ya siku yao shuleni, huku mama na baba wakihakikisha kuwa watoto wako tayari kulala. Hali hii yaweza kuonekana kawaida, lakini ukweli ni kwamba hii sivyo ilivyo kwa familia nyingi. Ingawa watoto wengi nchini Kenya wanaishi katika familia na jamii zinazowatunza na kuwathamini, wengine huhangaika bila uwepo wa familia. Familia zingine huhangaika na watoto hujipata kwenye makao ya kuwalea watoto ama kuzurura mitaani licha ya wazazi na jamaa zao kuwa hai. Pamoja na ufukara, baadhi ya visa vya utengano kati ya familia mbalimbali husababishwa na ulemavu, kutelekezwa na dhulma dhidi ya watoto. Makao ya kuwalea watoto yamefikiriwa kuwa mahali salama kwa maisha ya watoto, lakini familia